folks, welcome to another Friday fishing forecast. And as you can see behind me, our boat is still in the shop, so I don't think Chad and I will be fishing this weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Looks like the winds are going to be light. It looks like we're a small chance of rain, so it looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. It's just going to be hot. It's been hot. It's been really hot. And from what I'm gathering from a lot of my friends touching base with me, letting me know what's going on, a lot of them are doing very well. They're catching snapper. I had a captain in here yesterday, Eric Topol of Fishing Magician Charters. I think that's Fishing Magician. I'll put it up. I'll put his information in the description. But he came here, bought some more jigs, and he caught 50 plus snapper with 2 trips. So they did very well. They limited it out. So that's encouraging. I'm glad to hear that. The snook and redfish bite has been really good, so I'm excited to hear that. So as you can see with the red tide map, things are looking a little bit more impressive is in the way of the water where the red tide is. It's starting to kind of thin out. I talked to somebody the other day that has a friend that actually works for the FWC that actually does take samples of the water, and all along the South Shore they could not find nothing. So that's a good sign. Now I know St. Pete and that they're still getting hammered pretty good with it, but it is working its way up the coast too on the beaches, which is a horrible thing. This whole thing has been horrible, but at the same time there is some promising things that are happening. So hopefully we'll see more and more improvement and less death. And just to kind of touch base on my last Friday fishing forecast, look, I never said that I wasn't blaming anybody else except for the DEP. I'm blaming a lot of people, but the DEP is like at the top with this whole thing. But I did blame other politicians, other people involved, counties, cities that are dumping their wastewater. We were coming in from 5 miles offshore last week on a Friday, and there was wastewater on top of the water 5 miles out. And the reason why I know this was wastewater is because Chad, my fishing buddy, aka Chad Sucks, pork chop, eye candy, all that fun stuff, he works in that industry, so he sees it on a daily basis, and he knew immediately by the smell and by the look it was wastewater. So there's multiple things to be blamed, and there's a lot of people that are putting on rallies and things like that, which is great. I'm really glad to see that. And but I just wanted people to know that I'm just not blaming one entity or one person. There's blame to go all around. So just remember that. But things are starting to look up, which I'm very, very happy to see. Things have looked a lot healthier in the river. The catfish aren't coming up and gasping for air. There's no dead fish floating. So that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and get into the Friday fishing forecast and talk about what is in store for this weekend. All right, folks, here are the tides and salooners for this weekend. On Saturday, we have a low tide at 6:05 a.m. at a 1.39 foot. Then we have a high tide at 1:28 p.m. at a 2.92 foot. Then we have another low tide at a 9:20 p.m. at a negative 0.26 foot. On Sunday, we have a low tide at 7:16 a.m. at a 1.30 foot. We have a high tide at 2:16 p.m. at a 2.82 foot. And then we have a low tide at 9:58 p.m. at a negative 0.13 foot. Now, this weekend, we have a full moon, and usually that bite is better in the afternoon than it is in the morning. But my reports are the bite has been on fire no matter what. So maybe these fish are really, really hungry. I know the bait fish population took a massive hit with this red tide. I know that a lot of it actually, the bigger bait does die off this time of year after they spawn. So hopefully we'll start seeing an influx of smaller bait, which is promising, which I've heard reports of. And then as the year progresses, the bait will get bigger and bigger and bigger. But speaking of bait, we've got a lot of questions of people asking when is our cast nets coming in. We should have cast nets by the middle of August. I'm looking at probably the week of the 20th something is what we're looking at. So they're on their way. They've been delayed a little bit, but they're definitely on their way. So we'll have a ton of cast nets for sale, and we've got a lot of really good responses from people that have bought our cast nets. They really like them, so I'm really excited about that. So we'll have those in August. We have some other things coming up in September. But let's go ahead and talk about the salooners for this weekend. Again, we have that full moon, so the salooners are going to be very, very important. On Saturday, we have a minor feeding time from 6:38 a.m. to 7:38 a.m. And then we have a major feeding time from 1:18 p.m. to 3:18 p.m. Then on Sunday, we have a minor feeding time from 7:44 a.m. to 8:44 a.m. Then we have a major feeding time from 2:13 p.m. to 4:13 p.m. Now, with this full moon, as we all know, these fish like to eat at night on that full moon, especially if it doesn't have cloud cover and it's bright out. Those fish love to eat at night. So, if you wanted to do some night fishing, I would recommend it. And like I said, everywhere in the bay is not bad. Just find some clean water and you'll find fish. And it seems from what I'm hearing, unfortunately I can't get out because I don't have a boat, but from what I'm hearing, the water is cleaning up, the water is getting clearer, and it's very promising. Now, I know on the St. Pete side is not as promising, but I think we're getting there. And I know we just have to keep this in the forefront. We can't let this just slide by. We have to really keep this on the forefront. And that's kind of my plan. I would like to kind of talk about it and keep talking about it and see what we can do, come up with some kind of plan. And hopefully we can. But I think the fishing this weekend is going to be pretty good. And for the next few weeks, Chad and I are going to be out of a boat. So if you have some space on your boat. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. But anyway, but the boat story will be another story that I get into later. Again, I just want to thank everybody for all of the support. We really, really appreciate it. We know sales have been down a little bit simply because of red tide and there's just not a lot of people fishing. But I think that if you take the time and effort, you can go out and find fish. Trust me, you can. I just witnessed it the last couple of days with guys sending me pictures. And so fingers crossed things are getting better, but let's keep this in the forefront. Let's just let this slide by and go away. So anyway, thank you again. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.